and India relationship. That is one of the important issues, but that is nothing to do with the agreements, elements of the agreements. So what I would like to really ask all the people that are here on the panel, nobody has bluntly said this is so crap, scrap it, don't even waste a single minute on it. Most people have said, look, this is very important to get US-India relationship going. This is just like any other agreement. There are pluses and minuses. And so we need to continue, and especially if it is a memorandum of agreement or a statement of principles, there is a lot of wiggle room to change things. So I would like to ask the panelists, including Dean, what kind of changes in specific, if you can identify 1 or 2 points, if you do these 2 changes, I think I'm very happy, Cham. So I'd like to ask each person.
Okay, let's go in order in which we spoke. George?
Well, I tried to allude, Prakash, to some of the changes. I mean, clearly you have to clarify some criteria and principles under, by which India is going to decide what's civilian and what's military. And Arun is right. I mean, India could just say they're all military and the problem goes away. But, and so that, is a witty way to dismiss the problem. But they could also say it's 9 out of 10 and the problem doesn't go away, but there's still a problem. So what are the criteria? 2, question of perpetuity of safeguards. Is the deal that India says, yes, we'll put this under safeguards, but if we change our minds tomorrow, that's the end of it. That has to be clarified. 3, what are the country's neutral rules that the Congress would like to write into U.S. law, so that when, Pakistan or somebody else comes up seeking the same favor, you have laws that aren't big loopholes that you can drive AQ Khan's, a Mercedes through, that you sit there and say, these are criteria that we can live by. And then maybe not lastly, but the last in my brain, is this question about producing fissile materials for weapons. That has to be clarified in my view.
Joan?
I would just very quickly, for me, say one thing: fissile material cutoff of fissile materials production would be the one thing that would perfect the deal in my view. And maybe let me say one more word about that, in part in response to some of the comments that Dr. Arunachalam made. We've glossed over this topic in this discussion today and maybe done the audience a little bit of a disservice, but the reason the non-proliferation issue was so important, it's not so much that we're interested in constraining what India does as a state, but if you look at the global threat of nuclear use, it's, in my view, much more a threat of terrorist acquisition of nuclear materials which would enable them to construct a nuclear device. Short primer on that: there are 2 nuclear materials that can be used to produce a weapon, either plutonium or highly enriched uranium. Plutonium is a man-made substance. It's derived from irradiating uranium in a reactor and then extracting the plutonium from the irradiated fuel rods through a chemical separation process. Highly enriched uranium is a form of uranium, actually natural uranium, which can be found in nature, needs to be enriched in the isotope uranium-235 to make it fissile for nuclear weapons purposes, and that again entails a process that is very expensive, requires industrial scale facilities. If you're a terror organization, the shortcut to getting nuclear weapon is to bypass the production of those materials and to steal it or acquire it illicitly on a black market. And so in order to protect ourselves, what's really essential is that we lock down those materials on a global basis, wherever they are, or better yet, prevent the further production of those materials, and over time, we hope, destroy, render the existing stockpiles of those materials